Greatest farmers, no farmers, no nation. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Bayo Adeogun. I'm from Novi Agro Limited. Novi Agro is a company that specializes in the importation and distribution of feed additives from reputable companies in Europe and also from selected companies in China. Our range of products, next slide please. So our product range are toxin binders. We have two brands of toxin binders. We have the PF Sub Plus and the Prime Tox. These two toxin binders are formulated with liver protectors apart from the adsorbent. In addition, the PF Sub Plus, apart from the clay binders, also has organic binder in it. And organic binders plays a dual role. Apart from binding, they also have immune stimulating effect. So PF Sub Plus and Prime Tox are our toxin binders. After that, we have the enzymes. We have Nazyme Multi-Pro, which is a multi-complex enzymes. And we also have Nazyme Multi-Active. These multi-enzymes has virtually all the enzymes you required for proper digestion of your feed materials. Nazyme Multi-Pro and Nazyme Multi-Active, in addition to all the other enzymes that we are all aware of, they have in addition what we call alpha-galactosidase. Alpha-galactosidase is a special enzyme that you need when you feed high soya diet, especially in our broilers. The offensive odor you have in your broiler farm from soybean meal is partly due to the content of the soybean itself, the oligosaccharides, the raffinose, the stachiols, the verbascose, and the rest. So without alpha-galactosidase, you will not have proper digestion of this component in your soya. Then your farm will be having offensive odor because of the fermentation of the oligosaccharides by the gut microorganisms. So we also have Phytase 5000, acidifier PF Acid Dry Extra. PF Acid Dry Extra is feed grade acidifier. The most common around is the liquid acidifier. PF Acid Dry has 7 different organic acids put together, not just 2 or 3. That is most common in most of the organic acids that we have around. After that, we have the PF Epamix. Epamix is also a feed-grade liver protector, comprising L-carnitine, essential phospholipids, magnesium sulfate, esterified glucomannan, specially formulated to make sure that the livers of your birds are protected, especially when you have fatty liver. Fatty liver hemorrhagic syndrome is very common in commercial layers, especially when you want your birds to produce at the best possible level, like 89%, 90%, 92%. So the kind of diet that will make your birds to produce at that level has to be a very qualitative feed. And feed of such nature results in your birds having excessive fat, and they might likely suffer from fatty liver hemorrhagic syndrome. So with Epamix, you are so sure of your birds producing optimally with minimal fat. Next slide, please. One of our clients who has key into using Epamix is PPF, Premium Poultry Farms in Abuja. So we have betaine anhydrous and betaine hydrochloride. These two products, they are lipotrophic agents. They also help in minimizing fat deposition, and they also protect the liver, because betaine, if you have betaine in your diet, it spares your methionine from being used for other purposes like detoxification, because betaine will assist in the recycling of your methionine. Because once methionine is being used, it forms homocysteine, and homocysteine, if it accumulates, is poisonous to the body. So with betaine, it will help in turning back your homocysteine back to methionine, and making sure that the methionine you add in your feed is actually used for the incorporation into protein. Next to that, we have the what I call the performance-enhancing antimicrobial. Performance-enhancing antimicrobial. And there we have zinc bacitracin and flavomycin. These are antibiotics, so to say, but they are very mild antibiotics. You will never see any veterinarians around here recommending these two products for you when you have infections on your farm. So these two products, zinc bacitracin and flavomycin, are feed grade. They are usually added to the feed. And what they do is they help you to condition the gut such that the proliferation of pathogenic microorganisms will be reduced, especially from Clostridium. And when that is done, enteritis will be reduced, there will be better absorption, and you see that in better performance. So when you put zinc bacitracin or flavomycin in your feed, they are not the ones that is making your birds to develop, no. But they are working indirectly by minimizing enteritis and allowing your birds to make maximum absorption of the nutrients you are giving them. These two antibiotics, they don't deposit residue in the flesh. So that makes them very safe. They are not in the group of antibiotics that the veterinarians are asking us to run away from. Because these two antibiotics, their major effect is in the GIT. They are poorly absorbed into the bloodstream. And you can only have residue or deposition only when that antibiotic is absorbed into the system. And after that, we have the Nazyme range of premixes. We also have premixes for poultry, for fish, and for pigs. After that, we have tyrosine tartrate and tyrosine phosphate. Mycoplasma infection, that is CRD, is a very common infection in broilers. It's very difficult to raise broilers in Nigeria of today in commercial quantity without having CRD. And you need an antibiotic that is effective in taking care of that. An antibiotic that will also not that you are not likely to have issue of resistance with in a short period of time. And that is where tyrosine tartrate, which is for oral administration, and tyrosine phosphate, which is for feed administration, comes in. With tyrosine phosphate, you can start the prevention of CRD from day one by administering it in the feed. While the tyrosine tartrate, which is 96%, that is very pure, you give that when, of course, you have established case of CRD. The pure form of tyrosine is far, far more effective than the 20% that you have around. After that, we have flofenicol, which is also pure. It's a broad-spectrum antibiotics, and it might be your last point of call. at a point when you would like to salvage your birds from dying, and production at that point in time will not be the thing to consider. You want to salvage the bird first. Flufenicol is the antibiotic of choice. You can put it in water and you can also add it in feed. However, it's very good in broilers and in replacement stock. You use it in laying birds and breeders as the last resort, because it affects egg production and it is also deposited in the egg. So for breeder stock, it affects hatchability. But when it is the last resort, you want to salvage your birds, then flufenicol is an antibiotic of choice. After that, we have calcium bicarbonate. Calcium bicarbonate is a basic compound which you need, especially during the heat period. It is an anti-stress. During the heat period, poultry birds pant a lot. And as they do that, they lose a lot of carbon dioxide. And in the blood, carbon dioxide is being transported as bicarbonate ion. So when they pant a lot, they lose a lot of carbon dioxide. And the effect, you see it in your birds just dropping dead, just like that, suffering from thermal stroke. You also need the bicarbonate ion for eggshell formation. So when your birds pant excessively and you don't have a buffer like sodium bicarbonate, then you start having issues of bad shell quality because of excessive loss of carbon dioxide while they are panting. So during the heat period, you need something like sodium bicarbonate in your feed. But there is something to note. You cannot use sodium bicarbonate along with acidifier. So if you are using acidifier in feed or water, you cannot use it along with sodium bicarbonate because they will neutralize one another. Okay, acid and base, they will neutralize one another. So you will neither see the effect of the acidifier, neither will you see the effect of the sodium bicarbonate. So if you need to use sodium bicarbonate within the period, you have to withdraw your acidifier. And when you use sodium bicarbonate, you should be conscious of the sodium component of it. You must also reduce your salt inclusion so that your sodium in the diet will not be excessive. If you don't reduce your salt, then you'll be having a lot of watery litter due to the high level of sodium. Next, please. We also have yolk colorants. We have the Avizant Yellow and the Avizantine Red from Kessler, Germany. To have a better egg yolk color, the golden color, you need to add both the red and the yellow together in a ratio of 1:2, 1:3, or 1:4. That is, the red is always 1. So the yellow can be 2, 1:2, or 1:3, or 1:4, depending on the intensity of yolk color that you want. And as you increase the mixing ratio, you also increase cost anyway. So we have Avizant Yellow and Avizantine Red for your yolk coloration. Before I leave the yolk colorants, these are pigments. They also have antioxidant effects. So if you have them in your feed, they also have a way of preventing your vitamins because of their antioxidant effects. After that, we have the DCP, dicalcium phosphate, which is majorly a source of calcium and phosphorus in our feed. Currently, the one we sell is having 24% phosphorus and 18%, 25% calcium and 80% phosphorus. Dicalcium phosphate is, like I said, basically source of calcium and phosphorus, but you can, a way of reduce your inclusion of this if you use phytase. Okay, so if you are a farmer that is adding phytase to your feed, then your inclusion rate of DCP will be minimal. After that, we have the amino acids. We have L amino acids from CJ. That is the only company producing L-amino acid in the whole world for now. So we have L-amino acid from CJ. We have lysine hydrochloride from Mehua, Walilinda, basically from China. That is our lysine brands. And we also have L-threonine from Mehua, China. And by the third quarter of this year, we will start having L-tryptophan. So currently we have 3 amino acids. You can get methionine, lysine, and tryptophan currently from Novi Agro. And before the end of the third quarter, L-tryptophan will also be available. Let me just, before I round up, let me say something briefly about DL-methionine and L-methionine. Apart from methionine, all the other methionine are only active in the L form. The body can only make use of the L form because that is the only one with biological activity. But for methionine, both the D form and the L form has biological activity. So if you use DL-methionine, it's going to be effective also as a source of methionine in your feed, because the body of the animal is able to convert the D form into the L form. So in your DL-methionine, basically what you have there is approximately 50-50. 50 of L and 50 of D. And your animal will convert that 50% D back to the L form before the body can make use of it. So while giving that task to your animal, you're using part of the nutrients you are feeding them that they are supposed to use for productive purpose in converting the D-methionine back to the L form. So it's advisable as a nutritionist to give the animals directly the form that their body needs, which is the L form methionine. So these are our range of products. Next slide, please. Next slide. So this is our contact address. Novi Agro is at kilometer 12, Old Lagos Road, New Garage in Ibadan here. That is our email address, the website, and other addresses on the social media. These are phone numbers you can also get in touch with. Either you want to be a distributor or you want to buy for your farm use. Thank you very much.
Okay. Questions for Novi Agro, please. Questions for Novi, any question? 1. Is there a number 2? Number 2 at the back. Okay, 1, 2, please come. Please come, sir.
Okay, thank you for the delivery, sir. All right, my question goes thus. For the methionine and lysine, in what quantity do you add to, let's assume, a 30 kilogram feed that contain, you have the energy content, soya beans, the likes. But how do you use it? Because somebody told me that you have to use them very little quantity. So what is the rate? Yes, the methionine and the lysine. Yes, in 30 kilogram feed.
Do you say 20 or 30? 30. Okay. As a nutritionist, I can never advise you on the level of amino acids you are going to use in a 30 kilogram of feed. Neither will I even advise you other additives in a 30 kilogram of feed. I would rather advise you the inclusion rate on a percentage basis or per ton. And that makes it easier for you to determine what quantity you are going to use in any other quantity you want to. Because if I give you per 30 kg, if you want to produce 75 kg tomorrow, it becomes a problem. But when I tell you the inclusion rate in percentage form, or per ton, it becomes easier for you. If you want to produce 100 kg, you know what to use. If you want to produce 50 kg, you will know what to use. If you want to produce 300 kg, you will know what to use. Did you understand? So for methionine, depending on what you want, the target you are looking for, the inclusion rate, because the concentration of this L-methionine is 95 to 100. Okay, L-methionine eco is 95%, while Met 100 is 100%. So the performance of these two is very close, so the differences are not really significant. From 1.5 kg, 1.8 kg, 2 kg, and maximum 2.5 kg. That's the inclusion rate in a ton of feed. And a ton of feed will give you 40 bags of 25 kg. Okay? Now, the maximum level I've just given you, which is 2.5, you only use that in broilers. If you use it in layers, to me, it is excessive, and you might be wasting money. When you give excessive energy to your animals have a way of storing it in form of fat. But when you give excess protein to your animals, they don't store it. They catabolize it, they remove the amino group and so on, and then they metabolize into carbon and water. So they don't store excess protein. In addition to that, the waste from protein digestion gives you a lot of heat increment, which might contribute to heat stress during the heat periods. So you are wasting your money in putting excess methionine, and it's also having detrimental effects in the metabolism of your animals. Also, you will also have a lot of offensive odor on your farm because of all the methionine. Sulfur is the one with the most offensive odor because of the sulfur. Sorry, methionine is the one with the most offensive odor because of the sulfur content. All right? So please, there is no point adding methionine in excess. In fact, any amino acid at all, you don't need to add them in excess. So for broilers, I think 2.5 is enough level of methionine per ton of feed. Why for laying birds, maybe 1.8 or 2 kg per ton of feed. You might use 1.5 depending on the target you are looking for laying birds. If using even if using more than 1.5 kg of methionine is too expensive for you, you might also use 1.5. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My question is about what you said about colorants. You said the red is always 1, ratio 1. It can be ratio 1 to 2 or 3 or 4. What is the actual number for this ratio? Because it's not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not explicit enough. Is it 50 gram of red, then 100 gram of yellow, 50 gram of red, 150 gram of yellow? Because that is the clarification I want. And then, sir, number 2, at one point, that's one of these laws that I love so much in economics is this law of diminishing return. At a point, it becomes almost an offense to yourself if it's no longer productive, if it's not adding anything to your productivity to keep increasing. At which ratio will you suggest most is both good in terms of productivity for the farmer and is also economically wise for him to stay? If I'm getting good result at ratio 1 to 2, what is the point in going to 1 to 3 or going to 4? At what point will you say that? Then 3, as regards the amino acid relationship, lysine, methionine, so what is the relationship in our composition? Is it 1 to 1? Is it 1 to 1.5? Is it 1 to 2? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Actually, what I'm doing here is not a product presentation, so to say, because what I'm doing basically is just highlighting our products. So I'm not paying much attention on a particular product where I will have given you trial results and the rest. So for yolk colorant, the inclusion rate is usually 20 gram of the red to 40 gram of the yellow. Sorry, yes, 20 gram of the red to 40 gram of the yellow, and that is ratio 1 to 2. If you use 20 gram of the red, you can also use 60 gram of the yellow, and that is ratio 1 to 3. Or you use 20 gram of the red to 80 gram of the yellow, and that is ratio 1 to 4. But what we recommend is ratio 1 to 2, which is 20 gram of the red and 40 gram of the yellow, because that is the level that you had it, and it is going to be cost effective to you. Yolk colorants are one of the most expensive additives in the feed industry. I'm right, sir. Because the red is more than 21,000 per kg. So ratio 1 to 2 is what we recommend. That coloration of the yolk at ratio 1 to 2 is acceptable enough to most of our clients. But there was a time we had a client that was saying that she wants more coloration. And the more intense you want the yolk color to be, all you need to do is to just increase the ratio. But as you are increasing the ratio, you are also increasing cost. And even though they have some antioxidant effect, you don't rely on yolk colorants to give you antioxidant effect if you are looking for antioxidant in your feed. So that shouldn't be the purpose of adding yolk colorant. Basically, it's just to color the yolk. So ratio 1 to 2 is what we recommended because it is the ratio that it's cost effective. Your next question is methionine and lysine, the ratio between them. There is no established ratio really between methionine and lysine, like you have between methionine and cysteine, or between lysine and maybe tryptophan, or lysine and valine. But let me say this. Most of the time, we really don't need lysine in our diet. I'm talking of supplemental lysine. Because when you add soybean meal is very high in lysine. The lysine content of soybean meal is fairly high. So when the inclusion rate is getting up to 30%, that is 300 kg per ton, you might not likely need additional lysine again. Because the lysine you'll be getting at that level is going to be close to 1%, maybe 0.8 or 0.9. So if you are adding soybean meal at a level of 200, 210, 220, maximum 230, like we used to add in most layers diets, then your lysine can just be from 0.5, that is 500 grams per ton, to 1 kg maximum. If you are adding soybean meal from 200 to 230 per ton, you don't need lysine of more than maximum 1 kg. Because the total lysine requirement for laying birds, for instance, even for broilers, is just about 1.1%. It's not more than that. So if you are adding lysine of about 1.5 kg or 2 kg lysine in a diet that is having up to 200 kg of soya, you are wasting money. You are wasting money. And it's not going to have outright detrimental effect on the animals, but they will just waste the amino acid. So I will advise that we know that when you had soybean meal at a certain level, your lysine must come down. In broiler feed, in layers feed, especially in broiler feed, you cannot achieve a good protein level in broiler's feed without increasing your soya level. So if you have soya there, minimum up to 30%, and you also you have enough money, you can put some fish meal, then you might not need to add lysine. or just like 500 grams to a ton. But for methionine in poultry, it is the most limiting amino acid, number one. Like pigs, lysine is the number one amino acid for pigs, but for poultry, it's methionine. And the inclusion rate, because of the problem of not being able to guarantee the level of methionine in the product you are using, it is safer to use up to 2 kg methionine per ton of your feed. It is safer because you cannot really test anywhere in Nigeria reliably to tell you that the methionine content of this is this. That is number one. It is not with every batch you buy, you will be testing. That is another factor. And even in manufacturing, we all know that we have slight differences with batches. And that you cannot be establishing every time you buy your product. So you can, for methionine, you can just make it like a rule of the thumb to just add up to 2 kg per ton. But you can also achieve good methionine level in your diet at a lesser level, like 1.8, 1.75. Total methionine requirement in your diet, once it's up to 0.45 to 0.52 maximum, you are good to go. Okay, and you can get that with 2 kg of methionine in your feed. But for broilers, you can go as high as 2.2, maximum 2.5.
Let's put our hands together for Novi Agro. He almost turned us into nutritionists. Well, they are on the exhibition stand. For more questions, let's visit the stand. Well, I'm happy that the talk about nutrition overtook a good part of the talk about antibiotics. Being also a professional gathering, I would like to call our attention to the fact that when it comes to antibiotics, please speak to your health service provider. Please. Where we are in Nigeria is that the world is asking us to lower our antibiotics usage so that our access to market can improve. Part of why many of our products cannot go out of this country is because we actually abuse antimicrobials, antibiotics. And so, while it is okay for a marketer to tell us, if you have this problem, use this antibiotics. If you have this problem, use this antibiotics. From a marketing point of view, we want to appeal to us from a professional and health point of view that before you use antibiotics, if you must use at all, let your animal health service provider guide you. Because what we often see is that you will use A, it will not work. You will go to B, it will not work. Then you go to C, and by that time, you have turned your animals to drug addicts. So please, let's be guided when we want to use antibiotics.